if there's anything I can leave anyone out there with today, is arriving and pitching is the hardest part of anything you'll ever do. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it.
Okay, welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Cycling with Almost Elites. Sorry for the delayed content. We've really just been busy and we promised. Yes, training. So yeah, today we've got a special guest. I know we always say we've got a special guest, but this time he's special, and we're talking about something a little bit different other than cycling. It doesn't encompass cycling. We're talking to Thomas van Stalkbeek.
Fantastic. How's it, everybody?
And Thomas, just a brief intro about yourself and what do you do and all that good stuff.
Oh, fantastic. It's amazing to be on the channel, so thanks for that. And well, in a nutshell, I'm a fitness freak. Anything like endurance related, and it doesn't matter if it's on a mountain bike or if it's on a trail or so anything that is to do with endurance and sport in general. Actually absolutely love it. I am basically a financial advisor by qualification, but basically we've started also a bike shop, TVS Cycles, a couple of years ago. That it just spurred from the passion of the sport and everything that's related to the sport, and we're taking it day by day, but it's no longer a sideline thing. It has become something that has taken more and more of my time, which is a good thing, but it's absolutely passion driven.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I mean, what kind of stuff do you sell and
so we do everything triathlon related, but mostly cycling stuff. So here and there's a pair of running shoes or a TT helmet or TT or sort of a wetsuit, and those sort of things. But it's 90% of the things are cycling related, and cycling it's all triathlon bikes, mountain bikes, road bikes, anything and everything. We're quite versatile.
Cool, man.
I've seen it on Marketplace.
It's on Bike Hub. Definitely. Yeah, I've seen it on Bike Hub.
Now you can put a face to it,
it's good. It's good to put a face to it. And I mean, we'll link some of the merchandise on here as well. So tell us, Thomas, man, how did you actually get into triathlons? And which discipline did you start with before moving on to others?
That's a good question. So when I was a little boy, and I'm talking 8-9 years old, I saw this advert on the TV, and I can't recall. I think Standard Bank was still sponsoring the whole thing, but it was way long ago, and I saw this ad where this person was swimming, and I said to myself, it sounds tough, Ironman, and it's something I want to do one day. And so that little boy, it was a dream from very young. I basically did my first August when I was standard 8, back when it was called Cape August and not, or August when it was not the cycle tour.
What age is that?
I was 15.
Oh yes. So grade 10 to us millennials.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And I did it on a 26er GT. And the funny thing is that GT, there's 2 BMCs standing behind me, but that GT is still the favorite bike. That bike is like, it's not worth any money in the world. Like that bike is, me and that bike have done so much together, and I've done so much suffering on that bike. So that GT is absolutely legendary, and that's the best bike I own. And since then, money was always a factor, because being a triathlete does come with a bit of a price tag attached to it. and I've never had the financial means to do an Ironman as such. And finally, when I became more and more deeper into my career and my working life, I was then able to sort of do the actual event and have that word said at the end of Thomas van Schalkwyk, you are an Ironman, which is quite a cool goosebump moment, quite a cool sentence.
But listen, man, I mean, you speak about how much, it doesn't come cheap. How much does it actually cost? So just break it down for us.
Yeah. So if you look, so let's say you've got all the equipment, right? And you need to go down and do, let's call it a half Ironman, which is called a 70.3. Let's call it down in Durban. Your entry fee, you're looking at about 4,000, and then you still need to get down to Durban, which sometimes the races that are further away, East London and Port Elizabeth, you would fly in. But let's call it 2 or 3 or 4,000 rand in transport. You have to stay 2 or 3 nights, maybe car hire. Call it another 2,000, maybe it depends on where you stay, another 4. So that calls it 14,000. So that's your entry, that's getting there, and that's your accommodation and getting around to it. So that's call it about 14,000. And then your equipment is another ball game, because running shoes you can look at 2,000-3,000. Wetsuit 2,000-3,000. Tri-suit 2,000-3,000. Then you look at your bike, your TT helmet, your TT shoes. It becomes quite a list. But you shouldn't let the price tag scare you, because at the end of the day, most triathletes have done their first triathlon with the tackies that they already have, with the bike that they already own, even if it's a mountain bike. And you can swim decathlon. You can buy goggles for 250 and you get a swim cap with the race, and you swim in whatever shorts. So it's it doesn't have to, but if you want to compete, you see, that's the thing. Like I've gotten to a point now where I'm past participating. We don't want to participate anymore. We finished the races. We now want to be competitive. We want to race, not partake.
That's very interesting. So, just to obviously turn it back a bit, because I've always been interested, with the discipline of triathlon, right? I'm always intrigued by the individuals that decide, they want to go into that multi sort of discipline sport. So exactly. So my thing is, firstly, which of the disciplines did you obviously crush initially? Because I'm guessing with every triathlete, there's one of the disciplines that you're really good at, right?
Yeah.
And also is your story one of, were you good at maybe 2 disciplines and then you added the third one, or did you just you were good at cycling and then started running and then one
100%.
after the other?
And I think you have it spot on, where most triathletes, they'll say I'm either have a swim background or a running background, and for me it was definitely cycling. My cycling, I'm always top 20% in the field in my cycle, and then it's the swim and the run that lets me down. And so that's spot on. That's the cycling background. And the nice thing about the cycling background is that it's the biggest chunk of the whole race. You spend 50% of your time on the bike. The swim is about 15% and the run is about 35%, and it depends from race to race on that percentage. But give or take, half the time of your total elapsed time of your race you do spend on the bike, which is a nice thing. But definitely the cycling side of things is the foundation. The cycling is I love cycling. And I don't like running, and to a degree, I don't like swimming. So it makes it really tough to be a triathlete. But when you don't like running and you don't like swimming, but it's all part of the passion for the actual sport in a whole. The whole triathlon side of things. And the other side of it that's nice is that I do tend to get a little bit bored with only one sport. Let's call it sitting on the trainer day in, day out, and that's where the triathlons, I really enjoy it, because you do a multitude of training. The one day you'll do a swim and you'll do core. The next day you'll do a run and you'll do glutes and hammies, strength training. The next day you'll do a bike and you will do like some stretching and that sort of thing. And, you do develop, your whole body, which is nice. And it's a great lifestyle. I think that's the big thing that will keep me in the sport and keep me doing the sport on a sort of honest level, because it's always the lifestyle that it gives you. It's always more important than anything else. It's I want to be competitive, but be competitive in an honest way, because the lifestyle is the thing that gets me there.
Yeah, man. And I mean, speaking about being competitive, so what does it take for you to become competitive? Obviously, there's the equipment side of things, you getting the marginal gains from
100%.
equipment. And then there's the aspect of coaching. And I just want to find out, how does coaching work in triathlons? Do you have a coach?
I'm a stubborn guy, hey. So it took me a solid 3 years in the sport to realize that I cannot do this by myself. And 3 months ago was the first time that I've actually approached a professional coach and signed up for professional coaching. And what I've learned is that I've always trained harder than what I should have trained. So I was always pushing harder sessions than what I should have. So you can't. It's to do it on your own. It's nearly impossible. I'm not saying you can't do it, but so that the coaching that I've got, I'm part of dynamic coaching, and the last 3 months. So basically, there's everything is set out on Training Peaks every day. Yeah. So on my Training Peaks, like this morning was an hour and 10-minute run, sprints up the hill, and then a core session, and that's set out on Training Peaks. And then I know what I'm doing tomorrow and the day thereafter, and I can see what I've done yesterday and the day before that. Everything gets recorded. All the data goes to my coach, and she knows, she already knows what numbers she wants me to push. So she said, I want you to half Ironman, 200 watts for, call it the 2.5 hours you're going to be busy with. Because relevant to your FTP, it's 85%, whatever the case might be. So, she already has those numbers ready for me, and I can simply go and on the day look at my power numbers and push according to those power numbers. And if I do feel a bit better, push a bit more, but I'm talking 5% up or 5% down. You either push 190 average, 200 or 210, and you're there and thereabout. And that's absolutely amazing. And
But would you say or recommend that a triathlete get a coach for each discipline that perhaps they may not be good at?
Definitely.
Would you suggest a triathlete coach?
That's it. A triathlon specific coach. And there's quite a few clubs out there. There's quite a few coaches out there that that absolutely a triathlon specific coach, because you build a relationship with that coach, and to build a relationship with a running coach, a cycling coach, a swimming coach, that all needs to now sort of link in together. Definitely one coach, and there's a lot of options for you out there. A lot of good coaches that will help you. But again, there's a lot of good data on the internet and things that to finish your first triathlon and your second and your third, and to finish an Ironman, I've done it. I've been there, and I've done it without a coach. So you don't need a coach, but we've got day jobs, we've got things that we are good at, and you need to realize that you're not good at coaching yourself. There's people that do that for a living and know exactly what they're doing, and this boils down to cycling as well. And you need to say, well, I need to give up some of that control and whatever and allow a coach to do this for a living to run my program for me to a certain degree.
You know what always confuses me, and I think over and above just having the commitment of a coach, because obviously with the commitment of a coach comes the commitment of time, right? Yeah, and you know, that sort of dedication. So what I always have been interested also in is that, like, you know, the ordinary person, to your point, who has a job, you know, you've got a side hustle that you're doing, you've got a business, you know, I'm guessing you've got friends and other obligations, and you know, you're living an adult life that's very busy. So how do you carve out time for that training, and how much time does it require? Because I can imagine with cycling, you know, just trying to find that 8 or 10 hours a week or anything is hectic. So with that discipline, I'm guessing there's more time sort of commitment required.
Yeah, that's quite a loaded question, and I'm going to try. I'm going to try to talk not too much about this topic, because that goes into the broader just productiveness of how we run our lives. But you know, I feel like, you know, obviously you only have 100% to give, and you need to break that 100% up in certain aspects. But you know, you have to prioritize your family, you have to prioritize your training, you have to prioritize your work. And for me, the easiest way to do that is to be disciplined in all areas of my life. So if I'm disciplined in the way I'm eating, and if I'm disciplined in the way I'm training, and disciplined with my relationships, and I'm disciplined in my work, I find it easy to get all of those things done. When I find it difficult to get to everything in my life when I go to a friend's bachelor's and I have too much to drink. And then I find it difficult because now there's one aspect in my life that I'm not disciplined in, might have too much to drink, whatever the case might be. And that causes it difficult to be consistent and disciplined in all aspects. So when you actually disciplined in a lot of aspects of your life, you'll find it easier to get time for everything. Think about it this way: if you had a heavy night on a Wednesday night and you need to go to gym on the Thursday morning, are you going to go? Hell no. But when you're disciplined, you go to bed early. You know, you're up in the morning, you're at the gym at 6 o'clock. And I gym in the mornings from 6 to 8 is my gym time. So a lot of the times I'm at the gym for longer than that because the sessions on the bike is maybe like 2 hours. So then half an hour to get there. So 2.5 hours I'm at the gym in the mornings. And, you know, you're disciplined, you're up at 6, you're at the gym, whatever. You go to work, you do your work productively and effectively without wasting time. And you get through your work in, call it 6 hours. It's definitely possible. You go back, you spend time with your family, and you know, it absolutely just becomes easier to manage everything. If in order to be successful, you have to get everything right in your life. And the moment there's one thing out of place, the moment there's one ball that you're dropping, it becomes more and more difficult to be successful. And I hope that answers your question. I hope I kept it as short as possible.
No. Definitely. That gives so much clarity, because I think that's the number one thing that stops a lot of, you know, guys with a lot of potential from really reaching that height. Yeah. You know, it's that discipline of being committed, you know, with the time. Yeah. So definitely. Yeah. And so with this, how much time do you spend in a week?
Yeah, so my coach has also told me there's something that we need to work smart, not hard. And it is something that I used to get wrong when I was on my own. But, you know, we training smart and not harder, we training smarter. But, yeah, my weeks, my physical training time and physically on the bike and physically running is anything between 10 and 15 hours a week at the moment, which we will ramp up. We will ramp it up closer to Ironman times, which we'll probably get to about 20 hours a week.
Yo.
Mm.
Yo.
Yeah, but you get used to it.
That is
The body
hectic,
gets used
man.
to it.
And
The body
it makes sense now why you're such a beast, man.
He's
Because
such a beast on the road.
hey, you know, if
No.
there's anyone that you can rely on to block wind for you, it's Thomas.
I appreciate that.
Thomas
Look, no, I appreciate that, guys. But you know, there's the funny thing is that there's always going to be somebody better than you, and that's the thing I realized at some point is that when it comes to our sport and whatever you do, there's always in this world going to be somebody that's better than you, and always somebody that obviously you're going to beat. But
what would you say is the reason for that? Is it are people just working harder than you are, or is it an element of they've been doing it for years and so on? So
look,
why do you think
there's obviously the factors you can control, and the factors you can control is how you eat, how you train, all of those sort of things. But and I need to get the right word here, but physiologically, there are gifted people out there, and unfortunately, I'll be the first one to say that physiologically, I'm not the most gifted athlete in the world. Look, I'm not the worst, but my gains are due to hard work, and there's definitely guys out there that are just beasts. They just have VO2 maxes through the roof, and they are just absolutely like built for this sort of stuff. Yeah.
Thomas, I've got another question for you. Like I said, I've got this keen interest on the sport. I always figure out how, what happens. So nutrition during like an Ironman, with cycling, we know we're going to do this weekend, we're doing a mashova. So just a few bars, a gel here and there, you're good, and 2 liters of water. So I've always been interested with an Ironman. Where do they hide the food? And I'm like, where's the nutrition? Because you were swimming, right? And then you must just quickly rush to the bike. And I don't see where they hide it.
100%.
And then you're running after that. So what's happening? How does that work?
To start, it's incredibly hard to get the right nutrition in your body whilst running. So yes, you can get some water in. Yes, you can get some gels in while you run. But running, your heart rate is just a lot higher than when you're cycling. It's just hard to eat while you run. So it's very important for me, and I'm sure most triathletes out there, is to get most of your nutrition in on the bike, and to make sure you get enough nutrition in on the bike that you can get through the run. I personally pop a gel just before we start the swim. So like just a GU or a 32 GI or whatever, there's plenty out there. The gel before we start the swim. And then you get through the swim. The first thing you do when you get to your bike, you take another gel. And then depending on how long the bike is, whether it's a 2 or 3 or 5 hour bike, you just make sure that your nutrition is on point on that bike. And it depends from athlete to athlete, but you get a lot. I mean, let's call it gels. Let's call it at least every half an hour, you have to take a gel. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, man. That's quite interesting because they always say, as a general rule of thumb, you need to have about 100 grams of carbs per hour, and I mean, triathlons go on for a couple of hours.
Yes.
Sometimes I don't know how long, 9 hours, I think.
Yeah. No, look, my goal for this year is Ironman, and I've never said this publicly, but it's a sub 10 hours. So,
it is public.
So now it's out there. Now I've got accountability.
Yeah. So sub 10, you say?
Sub 10, yeah.
But then what other stuff do you? Because you can't have gels for 9 hours, right? So 10 hours.
Yeah, I suppose, right? But
so what other stuff do you guys eat? Basically, is what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, it's basically that. Hey, you the thing about a gel is that look, we live on sugar. Let's put it that way. And a gel does have a lot of sugar. So you do, and it's got the right amount of calories. But you don't eat physical food. You have a huge breakfast. Look, the night before you eat like a monster. 100%. You just eat everything, and then the morning you have a solid breakfast, and then maybe a banana here and there. But the thing is, and like you said, where do you hide the food? You don't. You go on something that is it's a gel. It's basically gels. It's water and it's electrolytes, which is Energade or Gatorade or whatever the case might be, and that's it. You live on those things for the time being.
So also another question: if you had free reign, right, to adjust the sort of what activity you do first in an Ironman, what would your order be? Would you would you go still swimming, cycling, and then running, or would you change it around?
I wouldn't change anything. Look, swim, bike, run is so ingrained into who you are. You swim and you bike and you run, and that's the order. You can't do it any other way. Even in training, like even if I have a bike and a run in my calendar, I can't run and then bike. It's you bike and you run. You swim and you bike. I wouldn't. Possibly it would suit me better if you end with your strongest discipline, which is the bike.
Yes.
I would probably perform better if your discipline, you're at the best, is towards the end. But no, swim, bike, run. That's the lifestyle. You can't.
I'm guessing people would drown if they ended with a swim.
That's definitely that. You want to get the swimmers over and done with as quick as possible. It's always the nicest feeling when you get out of the water and you're done with that swim, because swimming in open water, swimming in the ocean, swimming in a dam that you can't see this far ahead of you, it remains daunting. It remains something that is humanly just it's something that remains a general fear. Open water becomes something that is scary. That's it.
Yeah, the swimming is the worst. Like I can not easily, but I can do like a 2-kilometer swim in the pool.
Yeah.
But there's the privilege of resting and stopping it. Yeah, and just standing, and you get to the other side and you're like, poof, that was a hectic lap. Let me rest for 2 minutes and then go. So it would be interesting to see how it works in terms of open water, because I know there's a whole lot of like taking it slow and not using a lot of energy kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%. Really, and there's ways you can go in swimming, where similar to running, where you run and you walk. In swimming, there's ways to swim, run, so like swim and then walk, which is a slower swim equivalent to a walk that we can, and you do that in open water, where I swim and then I walk, which is another sort of swim where it's more like a breaststroke, all in teach those sort of things, because you need to be able to run and walk, especially when you start. Nobody can just run a marathon. There is times you're going to walk, and the same with swimming. But with swimming, you can't just stop swimming, and we'll need to teach you how to walk in the water, equivalent to walking, obviously. But that aside, Eugene, I would love to touch on your channel a bit. Again, we've chatted about this very briefly, but I've got so much respect for the fact and that you are taking the time to make these videos, and it's kudos to you. It takes a lot of time. For the viewers out there, I mean, I sit here, I talk, and I carry on with my day. Eugene has to go and edit and do a few things, and it's probably going to take him another 2 hours to edit this video and whatever. So kudos to you, Eugene. Like, why did you decide to start a YouTube channel? What is the motivation? And what tell me a little bit about the channel.
Sure. putting me on the spot here, man. I've never been.
100%.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, we did talk about it, but I guess our viewers don't know.
Yes.
But initially it was just about shooting content for races. So I'd like have my GoPro on and then do a race. But then what would happen is a lot of people would, advise me on how I would have done better.
Yes.
Things like that, positioning and all that stuff. And I figured, all of this information now just sits in the comment section, for example, and no one has access to it. So we figured perhaps it's best to try and create something. A lot of people have tried this kind of thing before and may not have worked out. So we just figured perhaps it's good idea to try and create something where we can share the knowledge with a lot of people, and that's why we bring people like you who are knowledgeable about a certain topic to come in and speak about that topic. And I mean, it's really free of charge, and I really thank you for your time for coming. I know.
Yeah, lovely. It's an absolute pleasure. But
for me, the guests really make the channel for us, right? I mean, granted, it takes a bit of time, and that's why sometimes we don't release content as frequently as we want. But having awesome guests like yourselves really make it worth it. And the feedback for me is always phenomenal. I mean, sometimes I was telling you I'd be at the gym, and guys would come up to me, hey, really love your content. Or even at races, we'd be wearing the Almost Elite jersey and be like, hey, Almost Elite, Eugene, whatever. And I mean, it's really been phenomenal. And I really hope that we can have the stamina to continue something like this, because I really think it has the ability to help a lot of people, and especially people coming into sports, be it, like you've said, be it mountain biking, road biking, swimming, running, and so on. So I really hope that it can help people. And I mean, no one was there when we started cycling to advise us. So perhaps this channel can be a platform for that kind of information. So that's mainly the reason. And I mean, thank you for the question. I've never had this question before.
Lovely. So I said I'm going to ask you this question, and for the viewers out there, I said I'll let it be a very raw question. He doesn't. So my question is: would you consider yourself a YouTuber?
Ooh. That's a hard one. It depends. What is it? If it's a person with the YouTube channel, I'm a YouTuber. But I think yes.
I
am a YouTuber. And every time something happens, I always think about how can we document this and put it on YouTube. And I mean, for us, especially for Almost Elites, it's really about telling our story. A lot of the time,
and it's amazing. It's inspiring, absolutely. For me personally, I really enjoy obviously the race footage. The race footage is amazing, and I think the time you take to get those videos out there is amazing. And obviously the guests, I've watched so many of your guests and those videos, and I mean, at the end of the day, the channel will keep sort of evolving and keep thinking about ways to create content. And just keep, from my personal side, keep it up, babe. Keep it up.
I'd really love to have an episode where you speak about a topic like swimming in much greater detail, because right now we just touched on very high level things. So I'd really love to have you on.
Eugene, I can talk about.
Fine, we can have a whole series, guys. We can have a whole series where we break it down into multiple parts. And we just share the knowledge, like I said. So I'm gonna hold you to that, Thomas. I want you to talk a lot.
Bro, you need to teach me how to swim, Thomas.
Okay, the first step is rocking up. And while I'm saying rocking up, also remember, just as a side note, to pitch up. If there's anything I can leave anyone out there with today, is arriving and pitching is the hardest part of anything you'll ever do. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. If you arrive and you rock up, you've done so much of the work. Just to arrive at gym, just to arrive at that race, just to arrive at that group ride, your work is done. Make sure you do the hardest part and you arrive. That's my core message almost today.
That's profound.
Awesome stuff, Thomas. We've used up a lot of your time. This was amazing, man. This was really great. So what's next for you, man?
There's 3 big things on the calendar. We're doing Joburg Ultra, which is South Africa's toughest half Ironman, at the cradle. You know, you obviously swim in the cradle moon in that dam. You ride the cradle route, which we all know is nothing but flat in the heat.
Oh, nice.
and you run completely trail running in the resort cradle moon. So that's lined up for the 5th of December, and then I gotta have to give it a smash on Gauteng's in Jan. Hopefully it's a flat route because I love flat stuff.
Love flats.
100%. We're gonna bring fast. We're gonna bring the aero bike, and we're gonna bring the best legs we can on the day. And we're gonna
congrats on your new bike, man.
Sure, man. I thought I'd just leave it in the background just to linger, but
Hey.
we'll quickly touch on the bikes when we get to that. And so just that Gauteng's, and then on the 5th of March, we've got a full Ironman, which is the main priority, the sub 10 goal.
All the best with that.
Let me show you guys the beast that I've acquired to get this. And again, you mentioned equipment, and
yes,
I need this equipment, guys. But this is the
oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! That's a whole house.
That's a whole house.
That thing is. That actually looks fast. You know, we always say.
If you can't be fast, you have to look fast, eh?
You have to look fast. No, with that thing, you probably move. It's
fast. It's fast. I went down.
Yeah, go ahead.
I went down Atlas on it. My first ride on it ever. And I mean, I've been down Atlas. It's a 5-kilometer stretch, and the oaks that live in Boksburg, Benoni, Kempton will know Atlas. And smashed my PB the first time I was on this, where 47.5 kilometers an hour on a 5k piece. And
what does the setup look like on the bike, man? You know, what size chain ring are you running?
So the interesting is that it's let me do this. Part is that it's a 12-speed SRAM. So it's got a 10 at the back. So the smallest is a 10. And the nice thing is that the 10 allows you to run a smaller front chainring.
Yeah.
So a 48 divided by 10 gives you 4.8, and a 53 divided by 11 also gives you 4.8. So your 10 48 is equivalent to 1153. So it's got a 48 chainring in the front, and it's got a 12-speed 1034 at the back. Yeah.
Okay.
No,
man. That's
a lot of power.
But it also looks very aero, and you know it's on the bike. Yeah. Also quite looks aero. I mean, how important is that for you?
Because you man alone. Remember, triathlon cycling. There's a rule. You have to be 12 meters from the oak in front of you. Yeah. If you're in 12 meters, you get a penalty. You have to sit in the penalty box. So triathlons, there's no drafting allowed. So it's you and the bike and the road. Imagine not being able to sit on a wheel. And that's so you need this bike to be as aero as possible. So everything is designed to be aero. It's just absolutely aerodynamics. Everything is thin, everything is flat, everything is just made to cut. through the air.
Yes. No, it looks
You
amazing.
go for like a smaller size, or is it like a what size is the bike?
So so my road bike on my left is a 60. And the nice thing is it looks the same as the TT bike, which is very cool. So we've got the T machine and the time machine. But
nice.
we've got a 60 on the road bike, 60 centimeter, which is equivalent to like or sort of an XX large or X large, because my inseam is quite like, I think it's 94, 95 on the inseam. But this I took a bit smaller on the recommendation of my bike fit guy. Shout out to Richie Baxter, but he helped me with the setup on there, which is something that's also very important. Another talking point: get your setup right, and a lot of your aches and pains will go away. But I went. It's called a medium large, which is equivalent to sort of a large, 58 sort of centimeters around there. But it is a bit smaller than the road bike, and
you're nicely tucked in.
The smart guys have got a lot of reasons for that, and I just listen to the smart guys. Again, I've learned to listen.
Yeah, and I mean, if possible, it would be great to have Richie on here to speak about bike fit.
100%. That's a bike fit and that sort of thing. And he calls himself the bike fit guy. Check him out on Instagram and all of those places. But
follow him.
It's absolutely vital. Absolutely vital. Hopefully, TVS Cycles one day can have a proper bike fit setup and corner. Big things coming on TVS Cycle side as well. We're expanding. We're going places. So. But maybe that's for a next topic. We haven't talked about
we must.
The
content must keep coming. Yeah.
We can't talk about everything today, so we'll have another episode.
We'll have to drop a few pieces. But and a bike setup is instrumental. So you can get away with it for a short while, but you're gonna get injured, you're gonna have niggles, you're gonna get knee pain, back pain, neck pain. All of those sort of things just comes to a setup. And the thing is, you don't have to do a professional setup right away, but you need somebody that knows what they're doing to just help out. Like we already know. We need to know. We as more experienced cyclists, we know a lot more, but we need to help the newbies and the guy that's buying his first road bike, and just to do a basic setup, which won't cost us anything.
Yeah. No, agree, man. Okay, so thank you for joining us, Thomas. Really insightful episode, and I think the viewers are gonna have a ball watching this.
Yeah.
And I mean, all the best with the ultras and the champs, how things that you're gonna do.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, thanks for watching.
Okay, cheers guys. We'll catch you on the next one.
To say it, like and subscribe.
Yeah.
And I also want to finish by saying, Tzara.